Hi there, I'm Katie Wagner. Welcome to Social Media Help Desk. This is the time every week when we get together with you and some of us and talk about what's going on in the world of social media and all the tips and tricks that we've been seeing work this week. So I'm here with one of our content editors, Taylor, and our web designer, Angie.
Hi.
And let's get started, ladies. There's a lot going on that we need to talk about. And the first one's really interesting. The first piece of social media news is that YouTube has seen a tremendous shift. So YouTube has always seen most of their content be consumed on mobile phones, right? Which is expected because most social media is consumed on mobile phones. But then in January, this past year, January 2018, they did a study and it showed that that shifted. And these days, most people are consuming YouTube videos on TVs, on big monitors, TV screens, and not on their mobile phones. And so, in fact, there's a stat here, 150 million hours of watch time per day on televisions from YouTube.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, for a lot of people, YouTube is replacing their traditional TV activities. They come home from work, and I think this has a lot to do with like the rise of the smart TV, because we all have smart TVs, or we have Roku's, Google Chromes, Amazon Fire Sticks, all of them. And they plug right into your TV, and now your TV becomes almost like your computer or your phone. So I understand why people are now using that and then watching their YouTube videos that way, or scrolling through YouTube, or maybe they have channels that they subscribe to, and then they put them up on their big TV, and that's kind of replacing their maybe their evening TV shows.
Yeah, and you figure if it does replace TV, they're watching longer form content on YouTube. And sometimes I don't want to watch that on my phone because it's little and it's hard to see. Sometimes it's hard to hear.
Yeah, like everyone has a big TV at home. Why not watch all of your shows on there rather than your laptop or your phone?
And with YouTube Red now, they have their own content and their own TV shows.
Right.
And so I downloaded the free, 30-day free trial just to watch. One of my favorite TV or YouTubers had their own scripted series. And so I downloaded that and I watched it on my TV, on my projector, so that I could be able to watch it as a real TV show. Because they are 30-minute segments. It's like a real TV show. Like a real
Are you going to
sitcom.
tell us who this YouTuber is that you follow?
I'll keep it secret.
All right, keep it secret.
The TV show was called Youth and Consequences, though.
Youth and Consequences.
Yeah, and it was like a high school sitcom, but it was a highly produced television show on YouTube.
Now, Taylor, you're kind of infamous for being our pop culture expert, and you watch a lot of TV, I know. Tell me, what's YouTube's content like compared to things like Netflix or Hulu or other places that I get content?
I would say they're still in their beginning stages, and it does range a little bit younger. So their younger audience is probably maybe 13 to 25 is probably the age range that they're shooting for.
Okay.
But they are capitalizing on that market that maybe is a little bit too old for youthful TV, maybe a little bit too old for Disney Channel or Nickelodeon, those kind of things. But they're not, watching adult programming in the evenings. That's who they're really going for. And they have sitcoms, they have full-length movies. They have original YouTube movies that are 2-hour-long movies. And the production value is very similar to what you would find in maybe like a Netflix original movie.
Well, and Netflix has original movies that are actually very good. It's interesting to me that YouTube's going for that younger demographic, because if you look at the audience of YouTube, the demographics there, it's not young anymore. It used to be kids watching rock videos or whatever, right? It was MTV. But now we see those stats changing, so it's a lot of business owners and adult people use it for like how-to videos and branding and stuff. And so it interests me that their original content's going back to skew younger.
I think because that's who they think they can capture to pay for it. The reason that maybe YouTube does so well for an older generation is because those people are looking for a quick fix or a free way to access that information. They're probably not as willing to pay for that because they're already paying their cable bill and their other bills. Where they're looking for teenagers or young people who have some some income to be able to spend it on stuff, and they'll just sign up for something that's valuable to them.
And what about this YouTube Red? Would you continue with that after your free trial?
They would have to continue to make content for me that made it, valuable to watch it. I signed up for the trial, but also immediately canceled my trial after I watched that series. But if I saw something that came out where there were some stars that interest me, I would re-sign up because the value of the production is definitely there.
Okay. And do we think, I'm guessing this is something they'll try to monetize down the road, right? They're trying to push towards
absolutely. And even, that in itself, YouTube is or YouTube Red is a paid platform, so you have to pay the $15 a month or however much it is, $9.99, to be able to get past that payment portal.
But I think that's not unusual, right? Because I use Hulu and I use Netflix, and those are paid, right? And so people are sort of used to that model if I want content. Now, you said everybody has a big TV at home.
Right.
You know that I don't have a big TV
you
at
know
home.
that
I
that's why I was laughing.
I actually
I said that.
have no TV at home, so I rely only on things like
Uh-huh.
Netflix and Hulu. What about you? Because you have the big TV. Tell me how it breaks down between streaming content and real content. Like, not real, old-fashioned TV.
I still like sitting, I don't have a laptop. I actually have a Mac desktop at home. So I actually like separating the two. I like sitting down and watching TV on, sitting down on the couch and watching TV rather than having a laptop or being on my desktop or on my phone. I like to kind of focus and watch TV that way.
But Taylor's like the double screen.
Yeah, you like to be like multitasking.
So you're like watching stuff here and watching stuff here and also have stuff over here.
But it's interesting, and it may have changed now, but originally you didn't have cable.
No.
And so you still
don't
don't have cable? Yeah, so
don't.
you
Still
do
don't. So I'm still
rely.
streaming.
You and I are old school.
Yeah, you're
We
streaming,
have
you're
no
relying
cable.
on those streaming services, but you're watching it not on your computer, you're watching it on the TV.
Right.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So it's interesting. We're seeing this shift, but really we've seen how that can happen, right? It happens to all of us. All right. So Angie, let's talk about something that a lot of our clients talk to us a lot about, and that's that social media is going well. They're posting, they're getting fans.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, sometimes we run numbers at the end of the month and some of them have lost fans, right? You see the follower numbers dip a little bit. And typically we say that's not a big deal, right? I mean, fans are fickle. The number goes up and down a little bit. Also, because there is such a thing as bots following you, right? Robots or not real accounts. Sometimes channels clear out the bots and the bots, lessen your follower count. But there are also some reasons why if you see a big drop, that could be concerning, right? Let's talk a little bit about that. What does it mean and what should we do about it?
Right. Okay, so first off, you should probably take a look at your strategy. Like, what are you posting and who's actually listening and coming to your page? So looking at your content, if you're only posting about your services or your products, it's going to get monotonous. People are going to probably tune out after a while. They want to see something different. They might, posting about employees at your company, what you're doing, outings, things like that. Adding personality, I think, is huge. We do that a lot here. I think every week there's someone new that we spotlight.
On Fridays.
Our staff here, different outings that we do. There's a bunch of different ways to incorporate that personality into your social media posts.
Yeah, I think, when I do coaching with clients, one of the things that I see is a big mistake people make is that they think, oh, this is marketing.
Right.
Excuse me, we have to promote. We have to always talk about our businesses and sell and drive traffic.
Some people think they need to be selling in every single thing they post online.
Right, which isn't true.
And not everyone wants that salesy approach. They want that human connection. They want to see who's behind the company and rather than just product.
Well, I always make this joke, like what happens, you may be too young for this, but what happens when you go mattress shopping? Have you ever been mattress shopping?
I have actually.
Okay.
Maybe once. Now I probably would just log online.
Yeah, right. So what happens if you go mattress shopping and somebody comes up to help you? Do you go, oh yes, could you show me every mattress you have here? No. What do? You go, oh, I'm just looking.
Yeah.
Right. I don't.
You don't want to talk to us.
We don't want to be sold. Right.
And we keep coming up to you, and you're like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. And I think that that's the same thing that happens when people constantly try to push in their content. If I'm following a brand and I know that every post is going to be a hard sell, I train myself to skip those posts. And I will scroll past it in the newsfeed, but I'll never read the content they're putting out.
Right.
Or even like Angie's talking about, if I was to be at a store and someone kept coming up to me, I would leave.
Right.
And I'd walk out of the store and be like, this is too much, I would leave. And that's the same thing on the channel. If you're in their face and you're constantly trying to sell them, they're going to leave, which would be to unfollow the page.
Right.
And that's probably why people are seeing maybe a drop in numbers every once in a while, because they've just gotten tired. They've just gotten tired of it.
So yeah, I think here we call that telling your story, right? You have to have content that's about more than just, here's my product and service, here's how you buy it or work with me.
Right.
And you mentioned some good ways. What other things can we talk about? I think even sharing third-party stuff like industry news can be helpful. Be a resource for your people, your fans. Showcase people and things in your company.
Right.
I think it's really got to be like an authentic way to connect with your brand and not just a sales channel.
Right.
People really push too hard, in my opinion.
I agree.
All right. So first thing we need to do if our fans are dropping is let's take a look at what we're posting.
Right. And
Switch
then,
up that strategy.
The next thing would be to interact with your clients. So even if someone says, oh, that's a great post, say, thanks for reading. Even the teeny tiniest little interaction, I think, goes a long way. So, and it also helps if other people are looking at your site and they see that you are interacting with other people.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a great way.
I was looking for a question with MailChimp the other day, and I didn't. I was trying to do something a little bit more complex than they had in their explanation. So I went to their Facebook page, and I noticed that they commented back on all of their comments within minutes of the person commenting.
Wow.
So I was like, this is going to be way faster for me to
Efficiency,
get in
yeah.
front of someone than for me to email the MailChimp help desk. And I had been waiting on them, and nobody had responded. So I just I posted on their page, and I messaged and asked them a question, and they said, we'll shoot you an email about this right now. And then I got the whole issue resolved in 30 minutes. And it's all because I knew that they would probably respond to me, because I saw on the page they responded to everything.
Well, and that's good customer service.
It is.
But also, how does it make you feel about the company now?
That makes me feel great about it. I feel like someone's actually listening and on
Right.
the other end of it.
Right. It's a credibility thing, right? I feel better about them because I see that they respond.
Yeah.
It's amazing sometimes when you see these companies where people are writing tons of comments and questions and they don't ever answer. And it's
Right.
like, how involved do I think you're going to be if I become your customer?
Right.
Yeah, I was doing research for a client and kind of looking at what other people in the industry were doing, and I was on another company's page, and people were commenting in the comment section about how they didn't address any of the issues.
my God.
People were commenting, obviously, some issues that they have with the company, and then some people were saying, why do we even bother? No one's even reading these comments at this point.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, no.
But they're still posting new content, so they're clearly actively avoiding.
Right.
And
Right,
That
so-
was a bad example of how to do social media.
It leads me to wonder, like, is there a policy in place that we
Right.
don't respond to comments?
And if there is,
who came up with that?
That's a terrible policy. And
People are gonna
then
see that.
We talked about, like, internally, this is not something that we would want to be doing as a representation of our own clients. Like, this
Right.
is the wrong way to do it.
Right.
Right. No, I think, social's a two-way street. If people are going to write, you have to write back. And if you don't want to have that kind of conversation with your clients or your prospects, maybe social's not the place for you.
Right.
Right? Because that is what it's all about. And again, it goes back to what we were just saying. People use it to broadcast, and they don't understand that it's really a relationship.
Right.
Okay. All right. Good. Those are good tips. Anything else we should know about what happens if you lose followers?
And I think the other thing I can think of is, you don't really want to touch on any political or like touchy
Sure.
type of subjects that could land you in hot water with not just, with your viewers. You don't, and I guess don't really know where I'm going with this, but
Like, the message that you're putting out, you're controlling that conversation. So
Right.
if you're bringing that topic up, you're opening
you're
the chance
you're
for
asking
people
for-
to then comment, and then
Right,
someone's
there
going
you
to
go.
go to your page, and maybe they don't want to be involved in that kind of thing. And people get tired of that kind of stuff, and that's a reason that I would
Yeah.
unfollow. I'm like, I don't want to see this anymore on my page, and then I would unfollow.
Right.
Well, and it's representing your brand, right? Like
Right.
this is your brand speaking to a room full of people, essentially. And so if you want to bring that stuff in, just be very careful about what
Right.
that portrays. It's funny. I actually read a study recently that said 55% of people who are on Facebook have liked a page and then unliked it again.
Okay.
Right. And the number one reason was that it was just boring. The content
Yeah.
was boring. Like, there's nothing valuable to see. And I think as things with the algorithm change on Facebook, and as social becomes a little more crowded, it's really important to stand out more than ever. You can't just post the same old crap and expect it to have the same results,
Right.
week after week. You have to constantly be thinking about how to engage your audience, how to make it more interesting, and how to really keep that experience engaging. All right. Good, thank you. Let's talk about another thing that's been in the news recently. Now, we don't have any news about an official rollout, but Twitter has been testing secret messages. Okay, that's what they're calling it, the secret messaging feature. And really what that means for all you technical people out there is end-to-end encryption. Okay, which means if I send a message through Twitter to somebody else, like I DM you, Taylor, it's private and only Taylor and I see it. Which is making it a lot more like locked down than sometimes social media is. Already DMs are kind of private between you, but now Twitter can see what you're DMing, and they're saying with this secret message or end-to-end encryption, the platform can no longer see what you're messaging.
And I think this is really a response to everything that's happened with Facebook lately, and trying to get ahead of that problem, and finding a way to maybe keep some of your information more secure in a time that people are already worried about that.
Right. Well, and it's at the forefront of all of our minds,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Right.
And so they're thinking about rolling this out. And so would that make you feel better about Twitter?
I'm not sure if that changes for me. I don't think.
Yeah.
I
You're not
mean,
sending a lot of weird DMs that you want
I'm
private?
not really.
And I wonder if there's maybe a generational difference between who is concerned about these kind of issues
Yeah,
and
that might
who
be it.
isn't. And maybe younger age groups aren't as aware or concerned about that kind of exchange of information because we've grown up around it. We're used to sharing everything online and assume that these channels know everything about us. But maybe if you were of an older generation, that is new to you, and so that would scare you a little bit when you're more concerned about secure information.
I don't know, Taylor, if I'm in the younger demographic or the older demographic you're referring to, so we'll just keep that mysterious. But one of the things when all my friends say, aren't we worried about people hearing what we're posting on social and keeping track? I've just always assumed that's the case, right? I've always assumed they're collecting data and listening.
And then that's the kind of mindset that I have.
It doesn't worry me.
So I'm the younger one.
Yeah, there you go.
It doesn't worry me. I just know that that's already happening, and I've accepted it. You know,
right? Exactly.
Where this is news to some people, and that freaks them out because and that also could be because we're in the industry and we know a little bit more about it. And some people who just use it, from their day-to-day lives, and now all of a sudden they're hearing that they're storing information about them. That makes them nervous. So to them, this would definitely be a pull in the right direction for them, and I think that they would be interested in something like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's largely a PR move. Look how well we're securing things.
Right.
But Twitter says that those DMs are actually a way that some people communicate about business with others when they can't get in touch with them over email or phone or whatever. They send these messages and it opens up a conversation that wouldn't happen. And they're hoping, they say, that encrypting these conversations might help that free flow of exchange thrive a little more.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, sure. But no launch date yet, so don't start DMing anything weird until we know.
But it makes sense to make an announcement about this or start the conversation now while it is so topical and in the news.
Right. Absolutely. All right, so Taylor, we're always looking for social media role models around here, and people tend to turn to celebrities, right, and see how celebrities use social media. And it turns out there are a few celebrities that do a really good job, and there's some things we maybe could learn from them, right? And you have some tips from one of our favorite celebrities around here.
Yeah, so I have an example from Rihanna and how she herself is a great example of how to use social media properly because, and especially recently with her launch of her new company Fenty, she now is her brand.
Yes.
They're synonymous, and everything that she posts, she's representing Fenty. And so while she may be a good example of how to use it personally, she's also an awesome example of how to use it as a brand and how as a company, because that's what she is now.
Well, and there's a lot of people we work with that are their brand. If you're an attorney, like you are the law firm's brand, right? And anybody who's solopreneur or photographers, you're your brand. Not many people have big multi-million-dollar companies that are just separate from who they are. If you're a small or medium business owner and you've started your company, sometimes you and that brand are inextricably linked, right? I mean, we don't think Katie Wagner has anything to do with Katie Wagner's social media, of course,
No.
but in many cases that's the case.
Yeah. And so one thing that she's doing really great is how she's launching her products and using her platform to get people excited about some of the new product launches they have.
Yeah.
So she'll do things like post individual pictures that is just a portion of the product, or like a graphic that doesn't really reveal what the product is, and then she does that leading up to the big launch of her product so that the week before people are getting excited about it, they're guessing what's going to come out next. People who are really in the beauty industry, they want to know, is she going to come out with a concealer next or a mascara next? And so when she does these little promos on her channel, that's what they're talking about, and it's really getting the conversation going and getting people excited about it so that when the brand launches and when Fenty launches their next product, now everybody's excited about it, already hyped up about it. Yeah. And that alone gets the news articles writing about it and gets the hype about it. So when it's launch day, everybody's ready and they're ready to purchase because they've been thinking about this item for days and days.
She teases it a little bit, right? She gives us little hints. I was going to make a point. Now I don't remember. I was listening to you. Never mind. We'll come back to that.
So another thing that she's doing really great is thinking ahead. And so we talk about this a lot internally about looking at the calendar as a whole. Like right now it might be spring, but what's happening in the summer months that we need to be getting ahead of, because that is a big part of marketing, is thinking about, what we're thinking about now may not play out in front of the audience for a couple months, but you need that lead time to get prepared. Right. And she's really good about that in the timing of her products. And so her product launches will often line up with festival season and Mother's Day or holidays. So one example, she had a whole line of like glow summer products that just launched, which for some people, especially in parts of the country, maybe it's still cold there, it might seem a little early, but it lined up exactly with, a couple weeks before Coachella, so that if you wanted to get those products before the festival season started, then, all that was thought of ahead, you'd have time to order the product and then get it in time for that season.
Wasn't there one with like glitter?
Yeah, there was a glitter one for Mother's Day, and so that was kind of lined up around that time as a good gift for maybe your mom. And so she's lining these products up with the things that are happening in real life so that people maybe have another reason to purchase, and she's using her social channels to kind of show that off.
All right. So she's thinking ahead. She's got a content calendar that lines up, because Rihanna's not winging it.
No, exactly.
Right?
Like,
she's not sitting down going, what should I post about today?
Yeah.
Right.
And her channels definitely show that preparedness. Right. But on the other hand, another point I was going to make is that while she might be prepared and everything's planned out, she's one of the most authentic people online. And that goes back to kind of what we were just talking about with Angie. That's so important when you're selling something online. She's not in your face selling all those products all the time. She's getting you excited about them, getting you hyped up about the products without saying, here's my new product, please buy it. The entire idea behind how she uses her social media is to be authentic and be herself. And, these are products that I use. That's a big part of her line, is that she uses these products, and that's maybe why someone else would want to buy them. And so in her videos on her Instagram and using her own platforms, she shows off the products, she uses them so that you can get the Rihanna look yourself. But that does mean a lot to a lot of people, because maybe some other celebrities who put their name on products, it has been an issue in the past where people just say, you wouldn't use that.
Right.
You wouldn't, you're not using that in your day-to-day life. But the idea behind Rihanna is that she's so real and authentic, is that when you're buying the blush, that's something that she uses in her everyday life. And if her makeup team and they're using it, then it's probably a great, awesome product. And that authenticity behind it is going to make you a lot more comfortable buying the product.
I think she's authentic in a lot of ways, right? Because you do feel like you know her if you follow her on Instagram.
Right.
And maybe that's an act, but it's effective, right? It feels like you get that connection with her.
Right.
And I think one of the questions I get asked a lot is, do celebrities really do their own social media? And
Someone asked me that yesterday.
Right? And I think the ones that are really good at it do.
Yeah.
Because it is authentic. It's very hard for even the best agency to capture your authentic personality if you're somebody who's behind that guard and is a more famous person.
Right.
And my answer to that when someone asked me was, you can tell.
Yes.
And so I think the idea is when you are putting some more thought into the post, or like when we're posting on behalf of our clients, we're still trying to capture that in the soul of their brand
voice.
and their story and their voice, so that the user, it still feels authentic and it still feels like it's coming from that person.
I think that's one of the reasons we take so long to get to know our clients and have a process for really spending time with them and understanding their business and being on their team, because it's not one size fits all. You can't just sit and go, okay, here's some good social media content, let's put it on this client and this client and this client, right? It has to be authentic to that brand. It
That's
has
what
to
I was going to say.
feel like
you never
that.
want it to feel like that could have been written by anyone, or that could have been posted on any channel.
Right.
When you're reading it, you want it to feel that there's a reason why it was posted on this company's channel, because it's specific and it's important to them.
It tells their story. Absolutely. And it's hard to do that, right? It's one of the skills that we always focus on enhancing and learning and I don't know, tweaking, right? Constantly improving, because it's a hard thing to make it
learning
believable.
the company.
Yeah.
The company.
Yeah. All right. Any other tips from Rihanna?
That's all we got from Rihanna.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, we've learned a lot.
Learned a lot.
So maybe everybody will go follow Rihanna and sort of see how she does things.
Yeah, it's a great example.
You could also read the full article on our blog if you're interested in that. And then let's talk about one more news thing, and that's Google Maps. Do you guys use Google Maps to navigate places?
Occasionally.
A lot more maybe if it's on a website or in Google when I'm trying to find the address somewhere, like using that context to learn a little more about the business.
Yeah. So I use Google Maps a lot. It's a joke that I can't get out of my driveway without the GPS, right? And so I rely on it a lot. And now they're trying to make it, rather than just here's how you get from point A to point B, they want it to be like an interactive experience about how is that journey, right? Which seems a little cheesy, but they're unveiling like features that allow you to follow certain neighborhoods and certain cities, where if there's interesting stuff going on there, you'll get them in sort of a news feed.
Yeah.
So like you could follow along for Alicia Viejo, and all the cool stuff comes to you in a news feed about Alicia Viejo, which, I mean, okay, but do I really need another social media channel?
It's
that's
interesting
what it
because
feels like to me.
I see the inspiration behind it, because there's companies like Waze where
Yes.
they make it, one step more than a map.
Right.
So it's the
Right.
idea that there's some sort of community behind it helping you get from point A to point B. So I
Right.
think Google is trying to use that, and at the same time using all the assets that they have at their disposal
Yes.
to make it more effective and more powerful for you, so you'll choose to use them over another company, which I do understand that, because you can provide some more value than just getting you from point A to point B. So there's tons of companies that do that now.
Yeah.
So trying to differentiate themselves, but that does cross a fine line between what does that have a place within the app, or are you just trying to use it to get from point A to
Well,
point
that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know that provides value for me. Like, I don't have time to like check my Google Maps like newsfeed.
I don't know if it provides value, but it might be interesting because I just moved a couple months ago to like a new area. So just even knowing about some of the new neighborhoods or some of the new businesses or things like that would be helpful. I think
I need like when I'm driving, I need it to give me like wine alerts. Like you are close to a place to get wine, right? That can help.
Or like the idea, I Google best, Italian restaurant near me. And then it takes my address and it finds, so if I could put in there, here is where I am, here is where I'm going, and then maybe it could show me some of the things.
I need lunch
on the way.
I want to find lunch within this mile radius of my work, and then it can pull up the best places, some recommendations for me. So I could see it being valuable in that sense.
Right.
Well, that's actually funny because another one of the features they're rolling is they'll learn that Taylor likes Italian restaurants.
Right.
She's always Googling these Italian restaurants, right? And now they'll match you with the restaurants you might be interested in. So instead of showing you like all the lunch places, they'll be like, here's the ones you really are interested in.
Which I like that. Anything that makes it easier for me. But I think that's important. It makes it easier for me as a user, and clouding up my map and making it harder for me to use it as a map is not making it easier.
Right,
It's making it more complicated.
Right.
So there is a fine line there.
Well, okay, so this brings up an interesting question for me because it's learning Taylor's habits. It's only going to show you Italian places because, you like breadsticks. And so it's going to show you all of that. But what if Taylor's in the car with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend really wants Mexican, except we're using your app and it's only showing you Italian? Like, is there a danger in, we're seeing a lot more of this artificial intelligence and predictive technology where they know me and they're only showing me things I would like. Great. Well, what if my husband has my phone and he wants different things?
Right.
Like, is it limiting that experience?
I could see it be a little limiting, and also as your habits change. Maybe maybe someone decides that they want to now be a vegetarian, and so or they want to go vegan. Now their habits are going to change, but Google doesn't know that because yesterday I was and now today I'm not, and so
that would be scary.
And so now the places you want to go and the recommendations you need are going to change, and now it's going to be kind of useless.
Although in theory, if you post all over Facebook that you're now a vegetarian, they might know.
That's true. They might
Unless they have a thumbs down, like on Pandora, and be like, thumbs down, don't send me here
no
anymore.
to
it would take some time to make that match, and maybe it wouldn't be helpful for me anymore. And in that time, I can lose interest in the app.
Yeah, absolutely. Because user experience is everything, and if it's a pain in what to use,
it'll be interesting to see how the interface rolls out and how that
that's the most important thing
presented.
for me, is I still want to be able to do what the app is for.
Right.
Yeah. Well, so it's going to roll out this summer, which is like next month, right? I mean, summer is soon. So we'll see how that happens. And maybe people who are watching could write in and tell us what you think of it when it starts to roll out, because I'm sure we'll be talking about it on future social media help desk episodes.
Yeah, I'd be willing to give it a try.
Yeah, all right. Well, only if it allows you to find Italian
That's
restaurants.
true.
Good. All right, ladies, any final thoughts?
Nope, I just think that, watching what other people are doing online is a really great way to get some ideas and see what could work for you and your brand. And just seeing something that maybe Rihanna's doing could spark an idea in your head and could be something that you could implement on your channel.
Right? Or watch your competitors.
Yeah.
See what they're doing that you could do better, or what they're doing you should never do, right? I mean, there's bad examples and good examples.
It can be a really good learning tool.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank y'all for joining us. We're going to see you back here next Tuesday at 12:30 Pacific time. That's when Social Media Help Desk airs. And in the meantime, if you need more tips and advice, you can read our blog. We post every day on our blog on KatieWagnerSocialMedia.com. And we have a YouTube channel where you can see past episodes of this show and also a bunch of our tip of the day videos. So look us up on YouTube and make sure that you like this video so that we know you're watching. Take care.